Story 1. She bakes amazingly. Best cookies I have ever had. Amazing pies. Good enough to make me disappointed in other people's cookies. She is also very artistic, mostly painting and photography. Even the stuff she considers meh is really good. Story 2. My wife has really gotten into houseplants. I was supportive at first. Then, watching the house turn into a jungle, I slowly found myself looking at plants everywhere. Now I take care of the plants too and also pick some out for myself. I like plants. Thank you for the gold. It's been my honor to try to get you all in the first half. Story 3. My girlfriend is an amazing hiker. She once hiked 46 miles in a single day across a mountain range. It's called the Ranger Marathon. She's like a wood elf. Story 4. My girlfriend loves architecture and building, so she plays a game called Blockcraft, which is like Minecraft but focuses only on the building aspect. She has about 200,000 likes on her current world. Story 5. My wife paints and draws. I love her style. I can't even draw a stick figure. Also, nobody uses Reddit quite as effectively or passionately as she does. Story 6. My wife can draw, paint, or doodle anything. It's obvious that she was born with this talent. However, what's really cool about her is that she has been able to live with me for over 50 years. Story 7. My girlfriend is a bit of a bookworm, and I'm always amazed and in awe at the number of books she has in her room, along with how much reading she can get done within a week, a month, and a year's time. She also frequently donates her unwanted and completed books to teachers in her city and to her local library. On top of thinking how cool she is, I've always admired how she gives back. Love her to bits. Yes, she is a vegan, and thanks for the silver. Story 8. My wife is black, and for the longest time, I was not aware that a lot of black women wear wigs. But we sometimes go to the wig shop, and she lets me pick a wig for her or just have me there to give opinions. Once we're home, she'll proceed to cut and style the hair so that it fits comfortably and also complements her face shape and structure. I just think it's amazing how she is able to do this without any formal schooling. I know it may not be a hobby, but I think it's really cool, and her confidence glows when she has different types of hair. It makes me happy. Story 9. She loves collecting books. She's in school to teach elementary, and she's always looking for books to one day fill up a bookshelf in her classroom. She also loves PlayStation 1 as much as I do. Her PlayStation was the first thing I noticed when I first went to her house. Story 10. My fiancée is a violinist. When I first met her, I thought, oh, okay, cool, you play violin. I play piano and do some electronic music. Except she doesn't just play. She's basically got a violin prosthetically attached to her. The first time I saw her do a backbend on stage while playing Crystallized by Lindsey Sterling, I realized she was leagues away from my musical ability. Now she's in 2 symphonies, a duo, a quartet, teaches about 15 people, is orchestrating a tour through New York, and is thinking about working toward her Doctor of Philosophy in Performance. Just good God. I wanted someone who had a drive like I did. But she makes me seem lazy, haha. Edit. Lots of you all are saying I should stop calling this a hobby of hers. I mean, I didn't. It's her profession, lol. Edit 2. Yes, this is a thread on hobbies. Since I thought it was a hobby when we met, my mind made the connection. We can't win. Story 11. My wife started her own business at 23 and spends all her time working on it now. It's her hobby and career. She has a dog daycare, boarding, training, and grooming facility. Story 12. My fiancé recently got one of those Cricut machines and has been making shirts and a whole bunch of other stuff for everyone. She made me a shirt that says classically trained with a Nintendo controller. That's my favorite shirt I have. Story 13. My fiancée has become a budding amateur seamstress. She made me a super comfy pair of pajama pants and I love them. Yes, they have dinosaur print pockets. Story 14. My wife is an aerial artist and specializes in silks, sling, and lyra. Super impressive, and she looks great on those silks. Shout out to the aerials community if you're interested. Story 15. My girlfriend does calligraphy, and the precision and attention to detail honestly blows me away. The process is super tactile, satisfying, and soothing, and just looks really enjoyable. Story 16, Mine makes music. She does covers of all kinds of random pop tunes just for fun in the office when I'm not home. I'm surprised that she is able to put it all together the way she does when she has only very basic vocal training and doesn't play any instruments. But she can sit at her computer for an hour and create an entire pop cover of anything. I think she would be thrilled if she knew other people were listening to these. Story 17. My wife is super crafty and makes custom cornhole boards and cross-stitch pictures for people as gifts. She once made cornhole boards for a University of North Carolina basketball fan that replicated the court design. She also made cross-stitch pictures when our nieces, nephews, and godchildren were born that have their names and decorations around them. We will get them framed and give them as first birthday or christening gifts. Story 18, Birthing babies. She was an emergency room nurse before we had our son, and then she became borderline obsessed with the birthing process. Now, she works in labor and delivery and spends all her spare time learning everything she can. She was able to turn her job into a hobby. Story 19, Gardening. We have fresh herbs and a couple of types of produce for dinner all the time. She also built the new garden bed herself, digging it out, putting the concrete blocks down, and filling it with soil. Story 20. She is really into true crime and reads a lot about it along with listening to podcasts. As morbid as it is, I really like listening to her tell me about an obscure case she heard about. Story 21. She is into skateboarding and video games. I've tried but have horrible balance trying to skateboard, and we are into different genres of games. She is far more into role-playing games, while I'm more into racing games. We are both into shooters, but she is more of a Call of Duty player while I'm more into Halo and Destiny. Story 22. My wife is really into yoga. I have never tried it but think it looks fun, and I am envious of how flexible she is. She has a very strong core and can plank forever. Story 23. Competitive pole dancer. She's really good too. She took it up in January, entered her first competition in May, and by the following March had won her category at the biggest event in the county. Story 24. She does Bakator, a traditional martial art from Cambodia, and she's really good at it from what I've seen. I really like seeing her happy once she comes back from the training. Story 25. My girlfriend rides motorcycles. And no, not the typical tourer or whatever. She, of course, needs the 150 horsepower sport bike. More than double the power that my bike has. But it's so cool to ride together and see her speed off, and that bike sounds amazing. Haha, I love it. Story 26. My wife has a popular TikTok page with thousands of followers. Her gimmick? Quick 30-second recipes that anyone can do. They are all her own recipes, and she gets free stuff all the time from companies that want to have their products reviewed or shared on her videos. I am really proud of her for all she has done and continues to do. Story 27. My wife draws. She thinks she is not good, but I will literally pick her art out of the trash and save it. I hope one day she can spend more time doing it because she loves it, but she works so much. Story 28. My wife, along with my mother-in-law, runs a non-profit Etsy shop making bandanas for dogs. All proceeds either go to animal rescue charities or supplies for local shelters. I love her. Story 29. Mine got into cosplay a year or so ago. She has only done 2 costumes so far, but we are refining one of them and she is doing 2 new ones this fall. Going to conventions is fun and all, but it changes when you're dressed up. She gets a lot of attention and takes a lot of photos. She gets to have fun, and I get to scratch a creative itch when helping make her costumes. Story 30. My girl loves dinosaurs. I always thought it was kind of silly and never really cared much until we went to a dinosaur exhibit one day, and she walked around and told me all about every single one. I had no idea she had so much information about them until then. She even corrected a couple of the informational signs set up for people with either the correct name, where it came from, where it was first found, why it was named that, what age it was actually in, or what animal relates back to it. It actually stunned me how much she knew. It was like a live encyclopedia on dinosaurs, and she just knows it all for fun because she thinks they are cool. Story 31. My ex-girlfriend is an opera singer, which is incredible to me. It's not my favorite art form, but I have so much respect for her because it's very unique. So much control while singing, and it involves acting as well. Story 32. My wife was never secure with herself growing up, and now that she's away from home, she's experimenting with makeup, getting the piercings she always wanted, and trying things she never got to. Is living life a hobby if you finally get to? Story 33. My girlfriend doesn't do it much anymore because of her arthritis, but she used to ride sport bikes with her dad. Also, she is a fantastic fisherwoman who taught me to clean fish and drive a manual transmission as well. She's so cool. Story 34. I don't know if it's a hobby because she gets paid for it, but my wife draws the two-dimensional backgrounds for Pokemon and other Japanese anime. Seeing her create impressive landscapes at rapid speeds is fascinating. My Photoshop skills are basically crop, sharpen image, flatten image, and I'm spent, so I'm in awe of her skills. Story 35. Well, she is into Dungeons and Dragons, which is cool because we have been playing together the last couple of years. She's into guns, which is cool because so am I. She's into board games, which is convenient because my best friend and I love board games and probably have over $1,000 worth. Story 36. My wife is a gamer. Not as in I'll play some games so we can do things together. She games whether I'm playing or not. She was deep into World of Warcraft before we met. I'm not a fan, I gave it a try, but it didn't stick. She still plays. We have a room that has two side-by-side big TVs with our PlayStation 4 consoles hooked up for co-op gaming. A lot of our date nights were just hanging out playing Borderlands 1. We played Borderlands 3 last night until 1 a.m. We are in the same fantasy football leagues. I know this isn't that extraordinary, except we are both 55 and grandparents. Story 37. Knitting crochet. It seems really nerdy, but seeing how excited she gets doing it is so adorable. It is creative, quite meditative, and it ensures I get some time to myself. I think it is really quite a good, healthy hobby. Story 38. Singer. She used to run a band, but coordinating musicians was like a part-time job. So she cut back to open mics with a single guitarist, mostly covers with an occasional song she's written. Makes me proud as anything when she performs. Story 39. My girl loves to shoot. I didn't know she knew how until I surprised her by taking her to the shooting range. She then let me know that she's an excellent markswoman and likes to hunt. Dear God. I nearly told her I love her on the spot. Laughing out loud. Story 40. She draws. I always tell her how skilled and talented she is at it because I genuinely think she's an amazing artist, but most of the time she just downplays it and keeps herself humble. All she needs is an iPad and one of those tablet pencils and you've got yourself a Picasso. Story 41. She draws, then cuts pieces of colored paper and pastes them over the drawings, creating really cool mosaics. She doesn't sell them or anything, although she could. She just sits there watching TV, drawing, cutting, and pasting. Story 42. My wife sings, dances, and gets the odd line or two in amateur stage shows. Sister Act, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and Oliver were all awesome, though I'm a bit less excited about Anything Goes. Hoping they do Little Shop of Horrors at some point. Story 43. She is into guns, working out, hiking, science, Marvel, and eating at fun restaurants. These are all things I love too, so I think they are very cool. There is one I forgot, which is very important. She bakes lots and lots of desserts. Story 44. True crime. She's really into my favorite murder, the Investigation Discovery Channel, and Forensic Files. One night, we were driving through downtown after a movie. A guy started towards our car in a ski mask in the summer in Texas. I was frozen with fear, but she yelled, "Not today, motherfucker," and peeled out through the light and took us home. She turned to me and said, "That was creepy as heck." She also has a potty mouth. I'm fairly certain she saved both of our lives by staying alert and not getting both of us harmed. Story 45. She crochets and knits. I can't imagine having the patience to work on the stuff she does, and it all just looks like black magic to me. She has tried to teach me before, but it never sticks. Story 46. My girlfriend makes incredible pieces of art and always has people asking her to design tattoos for them. She has won multiple prizes with her art. I just think it's really cool, especially since my artistic capabilities are that of a 2-year-old. Story 47. Sculpting creepy and sometimes cute stuff. She is originally an animation film director, but this hobby of hers actually took off, and now she has her work in galleries and museums. Story 48. Other than being able to make friends anywhere she goes, she hikes like a maniac. I will be like, phew, that was a big hill, and that is not even a hill to her. It is impressive. Story 49. She games, which is normal, but she makes friends while she games. I'm too shy to even use a microphone, and she's got a little almost clan in about 3 months. And she talks to them about stuff outside of gaming, so they're actual online friends. Also comic books. She got me into Garth Ennis and Bill Willingham comics. Story 50. She's such an amazing artist. She can just think of something, break it down into shapes, and create it. Last week she went, "Hey, I bet a possum with a little devil costume would look cute." And then she sat down and made that. I can't even picture things in my mind, so the fact that she can do that and then make those mental images is amazing to me. Story 51. My girlfriend sings very beautifully. She also does theater, and the amount of funny voices and acting talent she has surprises me every single time. I love her. Story 52. My girlfriend builds things, has a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and is getting her master's in it as well. She uses this knowledge to build furniture and other sorts of things. She has a ton of power tools and turned her condo's garage into a workshop. I always playfully offer to help her with her homework because, as a man, I am more inclined to understand mechanics. She'll hand me her textbook and challenge me to understand, I don't know, moving volumes or something, and I'll look at it and declare that the math is too elementary for me to remember and that I've made room for more difficult problems. She'll get playfully frustrated with my nonsense. If she's in her workshop, I'll usually have some smart commentary like, "What size bolt are you using there? Is that a 3/4?" And she'll roll her eyes at me and I'll go, "Really? A 3/4? Ha! Your funeral."